Yo, King of the Pit Media. Let me put you on! Yeah? And if I'm putting you on, if you're a metalhead and you don't know about this one, I want you to shake your head in shame, alright? And if you are a metalhead and you cast judgment upon the music we're going to discuss today, you're just not cool enough, brother. I gotta talk about a good record, to say the least, from a good band, to say the least. I'm gonna talk to you about my opinion on this. I'm gonna open up room for discussion, because I know that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 of you are gonna have something to say about this, whether it be good or bad. But as we've spoken about, when it comes to art, the best art is polarizing. The best acts and artists give you something to think about, whether it be the positive or the negative, and we can come together as a duality and establish good conversation. Touched by the powers that be. That is good art. I'm going to talk to you about a metal band, and in particular a metal album, because truth be told, I didn't listen to any other records by this band from this point. But I enjoyed this one. Right, this brings me back to high school. Some call it death metal. And that would be incredibly offensive to die-hard metalheads. Some call it deathcore, which I think is fitting. But the bottom line is, it's pretty gosh darn metal. Now, let me minimalise myself so we can open the discussion. The Cleansing. Suicide Silence. Mitch Lucker and company, yeah? So prior to this, they put an EP out. It was a bit too noisy for me. When I got into this music, I was downloading a little bit off of LimeWire, and I came across a couple of Suicide Silence bits from their EP, which had About a Plane Crash. I had that one, and Green Eyed Monster, or whatever it's called, via LimeWire. The production didn't do it justice as far as marketing is concerned, because to someone who was in their most influential, to be influenced stage of my life, finding identity, straying against societal norm by getting into metal and extreme music and coming across all of this cool stuff, it was still too noisy for me. I thought, the production's a bit harsh, it's a bit in your face. Now, the change from that to this record was amazing. The production value was fantastic. I think it was all down to the sound engineering generally. A lot more investment put into sound engineering. And this album is incredibly intense. This album is and this is where most of you, if you're metal for metalheads, I love Cannibal Corpse and all this and that. I love Seven Churches and all this and that. I love flipping, I don't care. You could disagree and say, what do you mean intense? Bruh, if you listen to this record, there is a severe extremity, yet palatable sound in the production, in the performance, and in the end result of this product. I had this on CD. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know if I got it from HMV. I think I might have. I don't know where I got this CD from, but I've got this on CD. And I used to listen to it on my system before going to high school. Surely pissed my mum off. But that's the way it had to be, people. That's the way it had to be. There's an audacity to this recording, yet a dualistic clarity. Everything pops, everything is clear, Every sound is secure, and even in the lyrical content, there is a harsh distortion and performance of vocal, yet you can hear some of the lines. You can hear some of the standout. There's a coherence from time to time with the lyrical content, and that is one of the selling points. So let me just have a quick overview. The guitar work is fantastic. The bass guitar probably gets the least shine on this record, but the guitar work is fantastic. I learned a little bit of this record on guitar back in the day when I first started learning how to play guitar. Drop B tuning, this was in. Great stuff. Not over technicality, but great groove. Great structurally. And I think the most important is there was an incredible tone of the guitars on this record. It was crushing. It was crushing. The drumming was fantastic. And when we hit the blast beats in particular, wow, what a powerhouse of a production. The vocals were at the forefront. We've got highs and we've got lows. We've got Mitch Lucker fronting the band. The lyrical content was great. Catchy, edgy, well put together. Grotesque in their own manner, you know. Extreme in telling a story and showing a picture. You know, painting the imagery in your head. And me personally, I was very, very attracted to them low vocals. You know, people use the term brutal in reference to metal music, brutality and brutal. And around my time of getting into this music, the word brutal was very popular via the MySpace times and so forth. You know, you could argue that the scene kids were brutal kids, dependent on your perspective. The low vocals are very brutal, verging on the guttural. Powerful performance. Structurally, amazing. We've got about 20 breakdowns each and every song, yet it doesn't feel like we are, you know, just going over the same old. It doesn't get boring. Now, one criticism is it is 45 minutes long, this record. It could very easily have been narrowed down to 30 minutes. There's not too much material I would like to take out, but it is so consistent, yet being varied, you know. It's consistent in sound, not necessarily in structure and ideas. Like conceptually, we have so many great, fantastic pieces, song to song to song. But, you know, something as intense sounding as this, 45 minutes is a stretch, but it's a very professional effort in it being so long. The timing of this band, you know, maybe the idea of the breakdowns and the vocals, the high vocals in particular, and the imagery of Mitch Lucker creates a divide. It was marketable, especially at the time, right place, right time. It was marketable, but you do push away some of the old school metalheads because it's frightening to say this is a good project when you're into pure and true metal music. It's very, very, very modern. Very modern. I think this record is heavier than the majority of death metal that came prior. I'll call this a deathcore album, not a death metal album, and I will say that this album is heavier sonically, writing-wise, impactful in this way the breakdowns are structured, more brutal as far as the vocal performance than the heavy-hitting death metal albums I've heard that have come prior from the 90s. You know? When the 2000s came, that's not a realm of death metal I ever really delved into at this moment in time. But when I'm talking about the rootsy stuff, even though you can say the roots of the 80s, we're not talking about that. We're talking about what was to become. You know? I seen Suicide Silence perform once, and I didn't see them with Mitch Lucker. I saw them with the frontman whom used to be in All Shall Perish. I don't know his name. It was okay. It was okay, but it's not the same, is it? It's not the same. You've lost, with lack of better term, the mascot of the band. I know that's not, literal, but you've lost the character. From there on, it's just in memory of Mitch Lucker. And I was a big All Shall Perish fan. I liked The Price of Existence. I can't remember the names of the record now, but I had a hoodie with the Statue of Liberty on with the guns and whatnot. Very edgy. Awaken the Dreamers, was it? Is that the record? I liked All Shall Perish, but All Shall Perish, although being quite technical and like great musicians, they didn't come forth with a sound as intense, as emphasized, and as palatable as this. This is a great record. And it's bold that I am to make this record, given I didn't listen to the album after. I dropped out of deathcore after, by the time they put the other record out. I was listening to other stuff. I hadn't heard the other record. I definitely haven't heard where they went on from there on. And the thing is, I don't really care. All I can say with audacity is that this was and is a great showcase of brutality in metal music. I used to follow a guy called Cameron Argan. Yeah? Big Chocolate was his stage name. He still fronts an act called Disfiguring the Goddess. And he had a series called Cam Every Day, which I actually feature on at one point, right? He was touring with a band called Burning the Masses. And he was close friends with Mitch Lucker, so around the time of Mitch's passing, there was a clear disruption in that particular community and space within the metal industry. I think this is an extreme record. And no matter how you package it, no matter what you say about the imagery of the band, no matter what you say about deathcore, I think this is as ignorant, as primitive, as metal as all that which has come before it. What more do I have to say? That's my little review. I think that opens up room for discussion. I would like to hear your opinion. I'm signing out. Peace.